Yo, what's up, right beside you here? It's time to shine the spotlight on a champion who is not new to raid. His name is Nekmo Thaar. You'll find him in the Lizardmen faction. He's been on my account for a while, but I've never had the opportunity to test him out, build him, or use him in any content until now. So this video is all about Nekmo Thaar to show you how I intend to use him, what content he can shine for you. If this champion was not amazing, I'll probably not be doing this video, but I know that this champion I've been hearing from other players in raid that he's amazing in a lot of content. That's why I want to see what is so special about him. So to help us decide whether we're even going to build this champion, you have to know his kit, know his skills to know where you're going to use him, right? From what I can tell, from what I've heard, he has so many things happening at once for him that he can take the role of 3 champions in your team. Let's find out if that's correct. From an A1 that attacks everyone, he's going to hit everyone and has a low chance, a 40% chance to land decreased attack. But if the enemies already have 1 or 2 debuffs on them already, it's going to be a 75% chance of landing decreased attack. AoE decreased attack landing on all the enemies is a good one. So they will hit you for less. If they want to get a turn eventually, their hits will be less. This part of the skill being AoE is quite important if you're intending to build him in a particular artifact set that I'll talk about later. So on the A2, you can already see the icon has a decreased speed icon, right? And this champion will place decreased speed on the enemies. Not just decreased speed, it comes with a leech. That's 2 debuffs at once going off to the enemies. A big version of decreased speed, I might add, and it's going to be a 100% chance to land this decreased speed when you spend books on this champion. It's at a 3-turn cooldown right there. And so this skill is quite standard. Normally we see just decreased speed and something else. This one comes with decreased speed and leech. Leech is quite important in any content where you're going to be doing damage to the boss or to the enemies, so you can heal back from the damage you're doing to them. So that's why it's quite important. And of course, Chimera has certain conditions where you need to land leech if you want to meet those Chimera trials. And of course the Hydra, where leech is quite important to heal back from the damage that the Hydra heads are doing to you. A healer in your team is fine, but having leech on the enemies and hitting the enemies give you back your healing super faster than a healer can get you back to 100%. So that's what leech is there for. The decreased speed helps the enemies slow down so you can be faster and get your turn. Basically run laps around your enemies. And finally, the A3 is one that even synergizes well with this A2. You're placing decreased speed on the enemies, but you're also increasing the speed of your allies. So 30% increased speed on your allies is a buff that he will place, and also fills their turn meter by 30% and then grants an extra turn. So this skill might seem like it's on a 6-turn cooldown. When you book it, it goes on a 4-turn cooldown, right? But then because of this extra turn mechanic, after he uses this increased speed, it feels like this skill will be on a 3-turn cooldown most of the time. So just like this A3 skill. So he starts the battle always with this increased speed before he goes into this A2. So except there are some conditions, some areas where you do not want to feel your turn meter at all, then you do not want to start with this skill. But I know that some players in the early game might even use this champion in the arena just because of this purpose of filling turn meter by 30% while also placing increased speed. But for my own account, I have other champions who can do better turn meter fill or better usage in arena. But definitely this is something that can be found useful in arena, this particular A3 skill for sure, or maybe even the A1. But it's useful in the Hydra and the Chimera, or even in clan boss. That's where most people will use this skill. Now for the passive, it also has a turn meter fee right here. 5% each time a debuff on an enemy is removed, transferred, or expired. So as he's landing these 2 debuffs, as they are being removed or transferring or being expired, he will be getting 2 turn meter, 5%, that's 10% turn meter feel. So, but it doesn't say it must be his own debuffs. If an enemy's debuff is removed, whether it's decreased attack, whether it's decreased defense, something else that another ally places on the enemy, whether it's poison, as they are being removed or expired, Nekmo Thaar will get a bunch of turns. So you might not want this champion on a team where you're placing a bunch of poisons and a bunch of random debuffs on the enemies, because as it is being removed or expired, he'll be getting a lot of turns. When I say turns, I mean his turn meter will be filled 5%, 5%, 5% each time. There's no cooldown on this passive. So he'll be getting turns. If you try to make him go for one with your allies, he'll end up surpassing their speed by far and even taking 2 turns before they can even take 1 turn because of all this turn meter filling. So he's not a good candidate for one of those speed tuned teams. That's what this means, right? because this turn meter field cannot be controlled, except you know the exact number of debuffs you are placing on the enemy, and you take consideration that it's just going to be a 10% turn meter field instead of a random number. So this passive makes him not a good candidate for speed tune teams, but I'm sure somebody out there will make it work. Now finally, since this champion is going to be used in a lot of different content, I did see his aura is speed in all battles 19%, so it's not specified to arena only or dungeons only. It's going to be used everywhere. You can use this champion in the speed, in the aura lead spot right here, so you can give this advantage to all your allies, right? So an amazing champion right here. His kit looks amazing, and you can already tell where a lot of players will use him based on what his kit is talking about. Increase speed, decrease speed, turn meter field, a bunch of turn meter field that will be happening, especially with this passive. And check out his character build, like actually looking like a lizard. He does have the tail, but what is this big paddle? Feels like he's going to be doing a ton of damage. No, I've not seen anybody building Nekmo Thaar for damage, like pure damage build, because a lot of people bring him into the team because, like I said, he's there in your teams to take the slot of two champions. A champion who places increased speed, a champion who places decreased speed and turn meter field are normally two different champions in raid. Maybe epics, or maybe a legendary that does only decreased speed or increased speed. But he comes in with those two debuffs, and that is quite important, and plus the turn meter feeling. It will make sure that you don't need to build your allies with a lot of speed if you're building the right team, because all this turn meter feeling will get them right back to where they need to be for damage, right? And also by decreasing the boss speed, it will give you enough time to do a ton of damage and before the boss even gets a ton, if you're fighting against bosses or even wave content. So that's quite impressive to have all these skills in one. You don't even need to bring a special decrease attack champion to the team, although it's not a 100% chance to land a decrease attack, but most of the time you have it out there, especially if you put the masteries on him that will boost the chances of placing this decrease attack. Or I don't think you need that masteries for this particular kit. But let's go and see how I build this champion now. Considering there are newer players coming into raid every day who are just finding out this champion and testing them out in early game content, I will always try to put out this champion guide and consider those players who are using him for the first time. I'll tell you not to build this champion in those super end game sets. For the early game, since Nekmo Thaar needs what? Accuracy is the first thing. If he doesn't have enough accuracy, it feels like he's going to be useless in your teams. So that's the first thing. For that, I'll always recommend an artifact set. Do we still even use accuracy sets in this early game? No, I doubt it. A lot of players in the early game are going straight for the perception set, which you can forge, right, by just farming some of those forged materials. And this is the early game set that most players will go for. A Nekmo Thaar in 3-piece perception set is totally fine. That's a perfect build for him because it will give him both the accuracy requirement and the speed requirement. Those are the only two main stats you need on this Nekmo Thaar. Now you can build him any way you want. You can decide to put crit damage and all that. Just make sure you meet those accuracy and speed requirement based on the content you are trying to beat. This Dragon 16, Dragon 20, even Clan Boss. In that early game, whoever you get, you use them in those teams, right? But for Dungeon Clear, this set is perfect for him. I'll even recommend you mix in some speed sets right here if your speed is not up to, because Nekmo Thaar needs to be one of the first champions in your team to take a turn. He shouldn't be built slow. He shouldn't be slower than your damage dealer. He needs to be way faster than your damage dealer, and by default, because he's a debuffer. They always go first before the damage dealer take a turn. They help boost the damage dealers to get their turn. So that's why this set is recommended in the early game. But since this is not going to be a Nekmo Thaar early game build, that's why I did not test out this build on him in triple perception or 2-piece perception and 1-piece speed set. Now the next and best set for Nekmo Thaar after perception, going over to the mid to end game section, is this reflex set. For a champion who has a skill like this that needs to be used frequently in battle, if you don't care about speed tunes, this reflex set allows this skill to be most of the time get off cooldown, because it does have a how many percent chance? A 40% chance to reduce a random skill cooldown. So which skill is it going to reduce? Is either the A2 and the A3, and remember, this one does have an extra turn. So I mean, grants him an extra turn, so you really want to reduce it from a 3-turn cooldown to back to a 2 or even available instantly. That's why that reflex set is very, very good on him, and I did put him in this reflex. It's a 4-piece set and the rest can be perception. So 1-piece reflex, I mean 4-piece reflex and 1-piece right here for perception. So I'm still getting the accuracy I require from him. For stats, if I was looking at stats for this reflex, I'm looking at speed and accuracy, speed and some HP, speed, a ton of speed on this one. And if you can even see the glove, I didn't go crit damage on the glove like we normally do on a damage dealer. I was not building this champion for damage, that's why I went crit rate on the glove. It's not required, it could go defense or HP, but I went crit rate. And then check out the speed and accuracy, more speed, resistance on the chest, because I intend to use this champion in a Hydra or Chimera build. That's why I put resistance on the chest. But if you don't have enough accuracy, you can go with HP or even accuracy on the chest as the main stat. But speed is a substat right here, and a bunch of speed on the boot with accuracy. And for the accessories, there is resistance and accuracy, because I've reached the accuracy requirement, so I went for resistance there. Then no crit damage also on the amulet, and of course HP or defense on the ring, so it doesn't go down really fast. So that's the Nekmo Thaar build. And finally, there's a last recommended set if you're not too crazy about reflex sets. It works the same way as reflex or similar to reflex, and that's going to be relentless set. Where can I find it? Relentless set is also one that is amazing for a champion who needs to take numerous turns during the battle. Where can I find relentless? There you go. This set is quite amazing, so you can take one turn, take another turn, take an extra turn, so it does grant him an 18% chance of getting an extra turn. So that's it right here for Nekmo Thaar. You can also build him in this set. You can let me know in the comments below, would you prefer to build relentless or reflex on a champion who knows to take numerous turns? And I did say this is the last one I would recommend, but that's a lie. There is one more set that players for the Hydra, specifically for the Hydra, would want to take a closer look at, and that's going to be this set that places Hex on the enemies. The Hex is a cost set, right? That's going to be cost sets. Where is it? Cost set is one that automatically places Hex. Well, it's a low chance. It's still gonna happen sometimes. It's a 50% chance of placing Hex for 2 turns. So a Hex on the 2 turns for the Hydra head means you basically do more damage. And I'm gonna be testing Nekmo Thaar in a Hex set to replace one other champion in my current Hydra team to see how that works out for me later in the day when I stream. But that's the last set I think a lot of endgame players will be using. Either you're going reflex, relentless, or you're going Hex. Now if you're not, I mean cost. If you don't have all these sets, you can go with the perception and the speed sets, as you can see. Taking note that you need the HP, the accuracy and the speed requirement based on the content you are trying to beat, whether it's Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, Brutal content. Know the speeds and the accuracy you need for those content so you can build him right. And now for his masteries, there's nothing special about his masteries. I went towards the normal offense and support tree mastery section for a PvE build. Basically, this is not doing anything with PvP, no. And then for blessings, I did go with Brimstone since he already has enough accuracy. He's going to be using all this content. Why not just land Brimstone? If you have any other blessing recommendations, you can let me know in the comments. And then for the last one is going to be his relic. I did see this journal of necros, which a lot of people will have access to, easy access to. And whereas heals and turn meter increase effect applies to allies are boosted by 15%. Now I didn't take a look at other relics. Maybe there's some other relic that does it better than this, but I just saw this turn meter feel part of it. It doesn't do any healing for us, but it does feel turn meter, and this might be a good relic for him. Let me know if I'm right. Boosting our turn meter feel by 15% is for all the allies I is applying it to is going to be a good one. I even gave him this other one that does this gemstone. Turn meter increasing effects are 10% more effective on the wearer. Should be on the. Will this work on him since he's also boosting his own turn meter? I think it will work on him. But I just gave him those easy to obtain relics, nothing special, nothing crazy, no epic or legendary relics right here. I prefer it to be on other champions, except there is one other one that I will take a look at later. So that's my Nekmo Thaar build, and right now I'm gonna go test him out in some content and see actually how this champion works, right? So let me know in the comments how you built yours. Mine is looking for like a total stats, 60k, 3k defense. 300 speed is not a slow Nekmo Thaar, depends on the content you want to use. And this is fine for Hydra or Chimera, I think, or I might need more. It has to be in line with the speed of your allies, right? It can't be one 300, the other 200. It doesn't make sense. He's speed will always be in line with everybody else. Maybe my allies are around 250, 270, then he's at 300. He's not the fastest champion in my account. He doesn't need to go 400 or something crazy like that. All right, then for crit rate, I did crit cap him, but there's no crit damage, and I did add resistance and accuracy on him, 2 stats that I think will be needed in those Chimera and Hydra. 2 content where I intend to use this champion later in the day. All right, but for my damage or for my test, I'll go to the Dragon as usual, Dragon 20, so go see what this champion is all about. I do have team presets, and I'll tell you what this champion can replace in your team. You have a Deacon who lands decrease defense and other things, right? And Nekmo Thaar filling. Nekmo Thaar can be the champion who you use in that place. You will lose the decrease defense and maybe somebody else who's bringing it for you, but Nekmo Thaar can easily slot in into that content. Where is he? Where is he? I just found it. There you go. And he can slot into that content. You have a Lysandra right here, which all she does is boosting your Nekmo Thaar and a lot of crazy things for you. So Nekmo Thaar can also be the candidate for that content that Lysandra just takes off. And I'm not just saying a leader position now. That Nekmo Thaar feeling, not just the aura, the Nekmo Thaar feeling he brings, and then the buffs he also brings will replace that Lysandra in that place most of the time if you don't have that. And finally, for the last team of some epics and rares right here at the top, at the bottom one, I'll take out Apothecary and replace Nekmo Thaar, and that's the team I will try. I doubt most of them have gear, but let's go try that team in Dragon and see what Nekmo Thaar can do for this team. They are just here to nuke the waves, but he is the one providing a bunch of Nekmo Thaar filling and support, so we can run laps around them and nuke them before they have an opportunity to do anything on us. So let's go into that Dragon 20 battle and see Nekmo Thaar in action. If you catch me later in the stream, I might be testing out Nekmo Thaar in my Hydra run key tonight. So I just wanted to finally build him and test him out in some content. Now, since I'm starting on auto, will he go with the A3? Is he smart enough to know that the A3 is the one I need? Let me find out. Yes, on auto he goes in with the A3 first of all. It gives him that extra turn that he needs, right? Let me put it on 1x speed. And then on the auto, he will now go in with the A2, right? His weak hit against Dragon 20, so he's not landing decreased speed on all these enemies. He landed it only on one of them. I should look for a different difficulty because I need that decreased speed to be on all of them, on a lot of them. This is Dragon 20. Nekmo Thaar is what affinity? Just so we find a little bit of a challenge, Dragon 20 is magic. Let me go for spirit then. He's spirit also. Let's go for this battle. Now I might get nuked because my allies might not be well built for this content, but let's see him in a more challenging content. He just resets the cooldown of one of his skill. You see the skill, I just see decreased skill cooldown. It has just happened. So he has landed the debuff like he was supposed to on them, and all of them are so slow now they're just waiting for their turn. And we even did not land a decreased defense before we are knocking. He does not have decreased defense though. That's one debuff he's missing. And of course I brought in somebody else here to do it. And now he landed the decreased attack from his A1. Now his A3 is up again. His A3 is available again. Just after he used it. Let's nuke them before they get a chance. His A3 is up again, right? It should be. It's up. All his skills are up. Thanks to that reflex set, you can see it working in action. You can see above his head, it's resetting the cooldown of even his A2 is available again. So you can go in with his A3 and back to this A2. Also decrease it again. I love this reflex set. It's always going to make his skills available whenever his turn is up. You have that Nekmo Thaar feeling available for you again to nuke your enemies fast enough before they even get any turn. Have they taken one turn? Nekmo Thaar A1, not nuking them hard because it doesn't have crit damage. Will she cleanse it? No, she dies. So that's what this champion is doing on your team. It looks like he's not doing a lot, but if we did not have that decreased speed on those enemies or decreased attack, we will be taking a lot of damage from them when they finally get a turn. And if we don't have that leech, we do have a healer right here, but that healer has not done anything right now for us. So I'm not going to wait for this one to run. I just wanted to test this one out. Now, if I head over to my Hydra, where I intend to use this champion, I might have to rely on other people's team to see, but from what I can tell, my Hydra team is lacking Hex. Hex, when I say Hex, I mean consistent Hex. I do have some champions built in Hex set, but I might have to replace it. So if I was to put Nekmo Thaar into this team that you are fully aware of, this Titles and Wixwell team that is quite popular in raid these days, Nekmo Thaar will still not be the champion in your leader slot because you need more defense. That defensive order will always be occupied by this Wixwell, right? And then Titles is in there. You always need this champion to do his job with Wixwell of increasing the duration of your buffs, of your shield and all that. But then you will now need to either take out, if I was to take out somebody in this team, let me go rebuild the team again. If I was to do it all over again or later in the stream tonight, I might have to get that one done. The two most essential champions in the team is going to be these two, right? And then you have the champion who does the job of filling tummy tar, doing his thing with Wixwell. Then I will bring in double Yumekos instead of, if you have two Yumekos, instead of this champion right here, because I don't need this champion now for this particular role. I might bring in my second Yumeko. This is not attainable by most people I know. Where is the other Yumeko? There she is. Double Yumekos, and then Nekmo Thaar comes in to fill that last slot. Now, hopefully with Nekmo Thaar here, we'll have a bunch of tummy tar filling going on. Where is he? There you go. So this might be how the team looks, and if I test it out, I know they probably don't even have the right gear right now. Let me quickly check. Wixwell. I don't want to just end this Nekmo Thaar build with just only a preview of a team where we test him out in Dragon, because this champion shines very well in Hydra and Chimera content. At least that's what I've seen. So we do have to end up this one with at least a battle in the Hydra, even if I don't accept the damage. Now, if you do not have a Wixwell team, I understand that you can also put him along with that of Packmaster Shayak and the Hound teams. He also works similar, the same way in those teams. Let me get the team ready, and I'll be back when they're all ready to go for the battle with Nekmo Thaar test in this team that is not speed tuned yet. Alright, I just borrowed some of Chris Hex sets and put on Nekmo Thaar, and the total stats is looking good right now for this Hydra battle I'm about to test. Yeah, speed is good, and let me see if it works with this team. I've not tried it before. I'm just wanted to try him right now, because if I say I'll do it later, I probably will not do it and I'll forget. So Nekmo Thaar is good for this Hydra content and Chimera content, so you might as well put him in a team that works well with him and then see how it goes for you. Everybody's geared right now except this champion. What's his name? Because I normally steal gear from this champion. I always want to check before battle to make sure they still have their gear. Okay, he still does have his own gear. Everybody else does. Let's go with the battle and see. Do I want to run a quick battle? No. But if I would run a quick battle just for science, I'll need to set a preset. Set a preset. Let me just run one quick battle to see. Open with this. Titles. Never use this. Only this. Hydra. Going with this for Hydra. Since I don't need the hex on him, do I? I need the hex for him. I normally open with this. Let it be the first choice then. Depending on how it goes, That's when I know whether I'll use this or not. My Hydra is no longer in the hex set. As for Yumekos, I always want to delay one of them. Let the other one waste a skill. So they always resets at the right time. Well, that was not the first skill. Which one is the fast one? This is the slow one. This is the fast. This is the fast one. I don't know. Let me just run that battle on quick battle and see how it goes for this Hydra run. But I'll run one more manual run just to see it in action. Alright. That's not a good result. Let me see him in action now. Nekmo Thaar in action, starting up the battle strong with his boost for us, and then the decreased speed for them. On everybody, and then you have the hex on 3 heads already. So with that out of the way, that means you know hex is not here. I can't land it there. I want to start with this skill as always. I don't even need to start with the hex now, you see. I do need the weaken though. But I'm just going to go ahead and increase the duration of my buffs instead. And more boosting for me. Can I land the hex here? Got it. Going in for the nuke. Got the provoke too. Going in for the decreased attack. They deal less damage. And then I can reset. To make sure he has this skill available. Do I need the weaken? I do. Why is this one with the my damage dealer weeks well? Titus has the buff that I did not need him to get. Yumeko, one of the Yumekos was supposed to be higher than the Titus. One of the Yumekos was supposed to be the one with the highest crit damage. I did not check that build. But that's what it does. He's the one what is doing this decreased speed and this leech on us and decreased attack. And the hex. So that's him just bringing 4 debuffs right here in this battle that would, I won't say desperate, but we need it for Hydra especially. So in a hex set like this, he does amazing for a team like this. Just one of my Yumeko is not the right one for this battle. So this will not be a successful run. I'll not run it all the way to the end, but you get the point. He's doing his stuff. He's making us take numerous turns. I shouldn't have used that skill right now because they have this poison cloud on them. Set again. Going for the nuke. I want to end the battle when a head starts getting deleted in 1 hit. I don't think I have enough buffs on me. That means because I didn't bring that, there's a champion who adds a bunch of buffs on me, and so I'm missing out on that action, that buff action. I only have 2. Well, we can make up for it by boosting our autometers a bunch, I guess. Can I go on full auto? Delete. No, still 700. Still low damage right there. Is it working on auto? You might have to take over sometimes, and all his buffs are gone. What happened to all his buffs? Did it get stolen? Maybe he's taking numerous. Oh, no, it didn't get stolen. What happened to all his buffs? That's strange. I didn't take a look at what happened there. I mean, Nekmo Thaar. Down he goes. There, who stole his buffs or something happened to his buffs? He didn't have enough resistance or something? But anyways, that's what he's supposed to do in your Hydra teams. Not just die like that. I mean, put a bunch of debuffs like that all other people on this team cannot do. So he's supposed to just take that position of the champion who is landing decreased speed, give you a bunch of turn, place the hex set on him to add hex to the mix. Leech so he can stay topped off. It doesn't need to be this particular Weakswell team. It can be any other team out there. But yeah, there you go. That's the way you would use Nekmo Thaar in a Hydra team, but not this particular one that I did not use the right team. I'll test this out again on the stream later in the day to see if one of these Yumekos was the problem or something. But yeah, let me know in the comments below where you use your Nekmo Thaar. I will test him out in Chimera to see if it can help me with some trials out there. So because it does bring increased speed, decreased speed, a bunch of buffs and debuffs that you need for Chimera trials especially, right? But if you're not doing trials, you might want to put in somebody else in there. He's there also for the turn meter filling, because that also helps with you doing a bunch of damage and being faster than the Chimera heads, right? Like, subscribe for more daily raid content. Let me know in the comments below which champion I should take a look at next. That's my champion guide or test or preview for Nekmo Thaar. And will I add into my permanent Hydra teams or something, or my Chimera teams? I don't know yet. I just wanted to test him out like this in this content and maybe save this team presets, so if I intend to use him out in this content, I remember Hydra Nekmo. He's a kid, right? Alright, see you guys in the next one.